I was just talking about the commies and how I hate them being in our country. Like, they could be anywhere, in any store, in any office, in any administration, and they'll just try to screw you over because, like, the really extremist, wicked, terrorist commies, they will try to actually screw you over while they're in the private sector in people's jobs. And on Julie Green, she was even talking about these reports where there was doctors and people in the medical industry, nurses and doctors, that said if they get MAGA people, they're going to, malpractice them, screw up their stuff. Well, see, I have a job that I started in January, and it's now past mid-April. And I started early January. And I get direct deposit. And the system locked me out, and I can't get my pay stubs. So now, because I reported that my job changed and I couldn't generate the pay stubs, and nobody's fixed the glitch with their system, and I've talked to the email, the payroll, and called their line, and my boss can't do anything for me. So they've just they just pushed me off, and I'm just sitting here, and now I lost my food stamps because I didn't generate my 2 months of pay stubs from January and February. To me, I think it's commie Satan scum, that they just get involved in things and then they try to live time real talk you, where they all talk sideways and they try to micro narrate every pointless thing that you're doing that nobody needs to comment. The people that try to narrate their entire life down to, oh, she's flicking her cigarette, oh, she's looking this way, oh, I don't know, oh, this. This is what people have been doing to me. There's been things going on for years with people trying to, whether stalk me, just hack me, show up and try to be in the background and narrate. I don't know what these people are. I don't know if they're just agents of the devil, or they're half and halves that have their minds so split that they're all crazy and confused, like these, I don't know what it is. But I was saying how this reminds me, I said it's not just Democrats, because it's like Democrats are terrorists now. Democrats, I said, well, I know one normal Democrat and maybe a few more that they had said all their life, I vote Democrat because they said they're older than me, and they said that they make some money. They said that they always thought when Democrats were in the presidency that they always saved on their taxes compared to Republicans. So the only reason they voted Democrat their whole lives, and still are, is because they thought that they were saving tax money. That's all. Some people aren't that bad. I'm a Republican. But they might just do that, and you say, well, I can't hate you for that and thinking that if that's really what you've noticed and you think, and you're just trying to save some money, and I see what the crooked scumbag's been spending taxes on. But see, passivity isn't really enough these days, and especially with God, because you have to fight and you have to be righteous. It's not just enough to say, oh, I want to save my taxes. It's you got to pray and call them down and say, no, I'm not paying these taxes. I'm not paying the CDC. I'm not paying the WHO. I am not paying the New World Order. I am not paying the UN. I am not paying the NIH. I'm not paying you serial killers to torture animals with your witchcraft that you say is research and virology and science. So you try to torture them and manufacture pestilences and then even box them as vaccines. Okay? That's exactly what they did, and they should all be shot. This is real military warfare. If I manufactured pestilences as a witch and tortured all these animals, these God's creatures, God gave us the permission to eat certain animals for food. He didn't say to sit there and torture them and try to make plagues out of them and then make bioweapon fake vaccines. No, he didn't say to do any of that. None of this needs to be done. This is no good science. It's terrorism and witchcraft and serial killers' hobbies. Serial killers like to torture animals. We all know that. It's a basic common sense fact, right? Well, look what they're doing in the NIH. Look what they're doing in Temple University. Look what they're doing in California college universities. Yeah, Temple University, I'm really not happy about you. I'm not, with the rubber bands on the kittens' hearts and all this stuff you guys have been doing. And then the other college with they put the cat's head in a vice, and then they stick these gigantic pins into it, and they try to, it's like the devil trying to make a robot out of them or do something that's so limited, so torturous, it's so horrible. This is like Jesus on the cross stuff. This is part of the real cross, yes. And the Iron Cross has a lot of weird stuff going on with this fake science and MK Ultra stuff that's been going on all the way back to pre-World War II. And it goes on thousands of years older when the devil felt like trying to do something. One of Gad's sons said the devil, or was it Gad's there was a testimony left somewhere, and I noted it. However, it was from somebody biblical, and it said, the devil tries to make a peculiar device out of a man, and this Yehuda hates. And I think Yehuda was a word for God. If you know, I didn't know that before, but I think I hear it and I say, that sounds like a word for God. You know, it sounds like, you know, Yahweh, Yeshua, Yehuda, that all sounds the same to me. So, when you see the CIA, the KGB, these NIH colleges, big tech, AI, Neuralink, DeepMind, all this stuff they've been doing, you know, what are you guys trying to do? We're way more than a machine. God made us. We're a divine creation. We're way more than a machine. We're more than a supercomputer. If we could actually fucking think and they didn't try to cloud up our system with so much noise and everything else with the lead and the baby powder and the little baby food with the poison and the cadmium and the lead and the chocolate for all the children, you know, all this Chinese candy everywhere over there, you know, like, you gotta think, what's really all those ingredients? I could make all that candy with simple beet juice, spirulina, turmeric, to make the food dyes, completely organic, and sugar and water. And if I wanted to make some cloudy white, I would just use some type of cream. Not titanium, that's what you put in paint that you're not supposed to eat. Lead white, titanium white. Why is titanium and all this weird stuff? I mean, whatever. I'm not going to curse myself. I'm going to say, still, if you guys are going to play that game, there is no poison from which Jesus won't recover, and he's in me and he's my Lord, and he can transfer that to me whenever, however, all the time. And I'm not following the evil report and saying, oh, it'll kill you, it'll kill you. That's what they wish. That's why they're pumping our food full of poison. Now we have to live like, what, algae and sylphs? Good. If it has to be that way, the Lord's protecting us. The Lord's absolving it, though, and it's not nice. And I wouldn't do any of this. I'm not against strengthening your immune system. I'm sitting on the ground outside. I smoke some cigarettes. You know, I drink really dark coffee. I'm pretty gritty. I play in the creeks. I go to the woods. But therefore, I get enough dirt and enough germs on me, and I get enough of that stuff. You don't need to pump everything full of weird substances. And so it's not just trying to strengthen us, that they're just trying to poison us. That Jesus judges their intent. But anyway, I said this reminds me of back when there was the Whigs and they split from the Democrat Party, where there was the Whigs were anti-slavery, right? I'm like a Whig. Look, my hair is crazy. No, my hair's too short to be a Whig. I'm a Republican. But, MAGA, I'm really a Christian underneath that. So, that's the big thing. The thing is, the Whigs were anti-slavery, and the other Democrats were still, oh, well, we're fine with slavery. Well, that's what I feel like's going on now, is it's not just all the Democrats. You gotta see the Democrats split. But again, where's the righteous ones? Where's the Whigs? Where's the Democrats that are gonna come out and say, look, I'm gonna reform this party. We're anti-slavery. Look, P. Diddy and Jay-Z were having parties with slaves and little kids. Fake John of God and Oprah's buddy, he was dealing slaves. Epstein Island was a whole nother thing. There's another island, God says. There's slaves at slave auctions, slaves, families dealing slaves, people selling their kids. You know, do you think some of these people, I think of it being like these Disney, Dislam, whacked out, brainwashed by Balaamite, scumbag Bohemian Grove pop music, that and MK Ultra, even if it's MK Light. The thing is, MK Ultra Light, do you think that these people, if they weren't so poor and in poverty or destitution, that, oh my God, I can't even really afford to take care of my kids. Oh, nobody can even afford to get a house, and everyone's living in debt slavery and bondage, and all the costs of everything went up because of the Cartel, Hay Garden Center, these huge piles of mulch everywhere. Look, there's one right there. They've got the whole backs full of mulch. There's mulch all down the side. There's mulch over there. This has been going on for years when there was a mulch shortage. But the cartels have tons of mulch. You say, oh, don't slander those garden center Mexicans over there. They're not cartel. I'll say, yeah, maybe they're not, but they probably are. Well, I know, I'm in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I've worked irrigation, landscaping in the past. I know the deal. The people who start these businesses often sell cocaine. And nowadays, they're even trashier and scummier than cocaine. Now it's